Hi folks, Dave with DBS Tech Talk, and today we're going to talk about the Geshelli DAC and amp combo that fits nicely into a budget and works even better. We have with us the Enog 2 Pro DAC and the Archel Pro amplifier. They are built very well. You can get them in either black or purple or clear. Obviously, this is the black version. The DAC has XLR outs and RCA out on the back. On the front, you have your power cable. You have your fiber optic and SPDIF connectors, and you have a gain setting for low, medium, or high, and also for input selector. The sources on the back, the RCA and XLRs, both work at the same time if you want to output to two different. The review of this unit is only done on single-ended. That was the only version that I have. I do not have anything that takes XLR ins. So I only can give my thoughts on the single-ended version, RCAs. A few things that you'll need to connect and use your sources. As you notice, this only has two inputs, no USB. And I was a USB only guy until I received this DAC. And I was like, So you have to get some sort of USB interface in order to connect it. Because, for example, my Surface Pro that I use all the time only has a USB out, doesn't have any other connectors. My Cyan N3, USB-C or Bluetooth. This doesn't have Bluetooth. My phone, USB or Bluetooth. How do you connect it? You get one of these. You get a Behringer U Control UCA222. And it's a USB interface. Very simple and easy. And we'll show you how to use this. So as you can see, you have USB cable. They give you plenty of length. And then you have RCA input and output. You have fiber optic in. And all the other stuff you don't need to worry about because you're not going to use it. So if you have your computer and you have your Surface, you can plug it in that way into your USB port. And as you see here in a moment, if you have USB-C, you can get an adapter. You can either get a little itty bitty one like this, or you can get one with a longer cable if you want. And it's USB-C on one end, and then a female USB, and you just plug them in. We're going to use the little, we'll use this one. So you have it connected like that. And then you take your source. Today we're using the Cyan N3. Plug it in. And as you can see, I get a red LED on the Behringer saying, hey, we're connected. I have power. And I have something telling me to make me go. You then will need a fiber optic cable, and I prefer this one from Monoprice. It's nice and short and small, and has nice metal adapters, good quality, and then the sheathing is nice and thick on here, and it just feels of quality, and it's nice and short. Then you will also need RCA cables, and I prefer shorter flexi cables for this stack, and some can be a little too snug and tight, but because this is so small in the back and a small space, you'll want short ones and easy ones to just maneuver. These are from Shit Audio. They're called the PIST cable, and work very well. Let's get it connected up for here real quick. So you just plug in your RCAs just like that. Then you're going to take your Behringer and you're going to take your fiber optic cable. And on this side, you have your fiber optic in. You're going to plug it right there. Then you're going to take this end, which has your little, oh hey, it's got juice. And you're going to plug it in here to your Geshelli. Then you're going to take headphones. Take your Headphone HE4XX and you're going to plug it into your amplifier. You're going to hit your play button. And I got music. Plain simple. Very easy to connect. You can also get a couple other different USB interfaces. You can get a Gustar U11 off of Massdrop. Also, you can find those on eBay. You can get a Topping D10, but both of those are $100 to about $120. And depending on what you want and need, you know, those are options. But if you're looking just for something simple, $25 to $30, you can get this little Behringer, and it works just great. A few things about the DAC. It does have the gain setting on it. The amplifier does not have the gain setting on it, which is kind of unique. Most setups, the gain is on the amp, and you just hit a switch or you hit a couple of sliders or something along those lines, and you'll change your gains on the amp. On here, the amp is pretty much high impedance mode, and you control your input to the amp via the DAC's output. So let's put our headphones back on here so we don't blow them up. And how you do that is a little switch next to your inputs on the DAC. You just hold it and you'll see it'll blink, and now we're on the lowest setting. And you'll notice a drop and you have to change your volume. And then if you hold it again, now I'm on full output mode on the DAC, and I have to really turn my volume down on my headphones. And then if you hold it again, it'll blink a couple times and you're on the medium gain. For my preference, and for all the headphones that I have in-house, medium setting for the output from the DAC going into the amp works the best for me. It has pretty significant steps in output, and I find that the lowest setting only works with very low impedance and super sensitive stuff. So like the in-ears that I have, the advanced GT3s, those have to be on the lowest gain setting, and then I can control the volume. Whereas if I have it on any of the other settings of gain, they just instantaneously distort, and I'm going to blow something up. So I have to be really careful on the volume knob. Whereas on the lowest setting, I can get the volume to about 11:30, or nice and loud, and my ears are saying, hey, that's too much, and I have to turn it down just a little bit. If you take something that's a little harder to drive, like the 150 ohm or RHA CL750s, medium setting is just perfectly fine for this. And about 10:30, 11:30, somewhere in that, depending on the song, you have good sound coming out, and works just great. Headphone wise, the gain setting varies, but for the most part, medium gain works the best, and it's very easy to simply, you just press that button and it changes your steps and gain. That's the only real quirks, other than the wires hanging out the front of it, and the gain is on the DAC instead of on the amp. Hey, I understand why you have to have the inputs on the DAC on the front. It's because it's so small, and you'd have to rearrange the board and make the device a lot bigger, and things like that. So I can live with it. It's just not as clean of a look as some others. How's it sound? Amazing. Just incredible sound. Very clean, clear, and detailed. This is a detail monster. If you love to hear the small, intimate information of a song, this will play it for you. The detailing that it pulls through is just incredible. Very clear, very precise, and very accurate. It is an analytical DAC. It doesn't change the sound of the music. It doesn't color it in any way. It plays it as it is, which means that if you have stuff that isn't recorded very well, it will show those flaws a little bit too much. It is not a very forgiving setup for bad recordings or for super bright recordings. Also, it is a very natural sound, in that the bass kicks nice and well. It is not colored in any way. It's natural, sounds exactly the way it should in the recording, and it's very smooth and clean. Mids, some of the best mids I've heard out of a DAC. You don't get coloring, doesn't push it forward, doesn't recess it, anything of the sort. It plays it as it is, just like it came out of the studio. And the highs are right there, and you get that detail on the sound stage, and the imaging is just superb. And this is very clean, clear, and has a very dark and black background. You are not going to get hissing or popping or clicking or anything of the sort, unless it's built into your music. Very good DAC. Amplifier is also amazing, and being able to control the gain setting via the DAC is very nice. Instead of having to hit your switches, and then if it's still too loud or distorting or something along that lines, having to turn the outputs from your source down. This way, the source is controlled by the DAC. Makes it very nice and easy to use. Love this little thing. Headphones it plays well with. I already talked about the RHA CL750s and the advanced GT3s. Excuse me, I wouldn't recommend really any other in-ears with it. Anything lesser in ohms, and this thing is too much power even on the lowest gain settings. About 32 ohm, probably about the lowest I would go. Not sure if it can go a little bit less than that, but plays well with higher ohmed headphones, or harder to drive headphones. HE4XX does play well. Just remember, you have to lessen the gain setting on it, and very smooth, very nice, good sound. The back behind me here, we have the ZMF Classics, also work very well with it. We have the Focal Elex and the Mr. Speaker's Aeon Flow Opens. All three of those work very well. Again, keep it on the medium gain with those. Plenty of power. No need to blast it on high. If you put it on the highest setting on the gain, all of those are going to distort very easily at like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock on the dial. Put it on medium gain, you still have plenty of power to push everything, and they sound great, and you can turn that volume knob a little bit better without it maxing out till you get to farther into the dial, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And if you're listening to music at that time frame on the dial, you're listening to it way too loud. Headphone that really surprised me that didn't work well with it is over here, and that is the advanced alphas. They really surprised me. I would have thought that they play well because they do tend to want more power and to be a little power hungry. Just not a good mix with this setup. Synergy wasn't there. They sounded on a lot of songs. They sounded like a tin can, very sibilant, very bright, and shouty. Other songs sounded fine on it, and I couldn't get a happy medium on the gain settings. The lowest setting, these barely moved. Put them on the medium, and you had to pretty much get the volume knob to maxed out to get them to a level that was good, but it just didn't sound coherent, I guess, and cohesive. And then you put it on high gain and it is distorted. And so I couldn't get that happiness with those. Some songs, they sound great, and then others, it just, headphones are picky with amps, and advanced alphas do not like the Geshelli. Sources, I played well with everything, as I said. Works well with my Surface Pro, works well with my Cyan N3, Hi-Fi Min Mega Mini, and works on the PlayStation. You can connect fiber optic out of the PS4 and game with it. Sounds great. Works well with my phone, my OnePlus 6T. Geshelli, good job. This thing is incredible. It's amazing, and has a few quirks about it. You know, you have to, the wires sticking out the front a little bit. Adds to the quirkiness. Makes it look a little industrial. The gain switch on the DAC, that's a great item. Speaking of, using the AUN, if I had the AUN X7S plugged into the DAC, I could have the DAC on high output, and it worked well. It didn't get the distortion and stuff like you do on some headphones when you use the Archel Pro. So somehow the wiring is a little different on that amp, apparently. I'm not an electrician. I'm not an engineer. I don't understand that world. But I'm just telling you, whatever the internals on the AUN X7S was, is better. Comparing the AUN X1S DAC to the Geshelli, the AUN X1S DAC has a warmer sound to them, even though they're both full-bodied and very smooth and very detailed. The Geshelli has that brighter analytical sound. The AUN does color it up a little bit and make it a little warmer and a little more friendly in that regard. And the AUN is more forgiving of bad recordings compared to the Geshelli. One other fun thing that you can do, besides having two outputs coming out of the DAC, if you have the amp, not only will you have the input going in from the Enog 2, if you have the Archel Pro, you can also get one of these 3.5s to 3.5s, and you can plug it into the back of your amp. You can have another source going in if you have a little Cyan or phone or something that has 3.5. You can have another source going in. So technically, if you have this stack, you could have 3 sources. 3 different sources. So that's kind of cool. Unique little feature. And it all works well. You just hit your little inputs. One thing I would like, if I don't know if they can figure out how to do it, but the Archel Pro, you can change the LED colors or turn them off. If you could on the Enog 2, that would be awesome. Change it, and then you could have them match up, or change them to different colors. And it would be really cool if they could get it so that it would flicker on its own change. But hey, I'm dreaming. Geshelli Labs, the Enog 2 and the Archel Pro make a great budget DAC amp stack, and they work well beyond, way beyond their price point. Great products, highly recommend it, and I am going to be sad to see that I have to return these to their rightful owner. It'll be a sad day. This has been Dave with DBS Tech Talk. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.